Coming up next, turning tragedy into triumph on the tennis courts.
I know what tennis did for me in terms of my confidence. When people watched me, that also was what, pushed me. They was like, wow, how can you do that?
Brenda Gilmore shares her inspiring story of how wheelchair tennis changed her life and how she uses the sport to instill life lessons and prepare young people for college.
I started this for them with the purpose of them going to college, not becoming a pro. If they wanted to go on the pro path, that was fine, but that's not what I did this for.
On this edition of Conversations with Charlene Dukes.
Welcome. I'm Charlene Dukes, president of Prince George's Community College. My guest on the program today uses the sport of tennis to inspire academic excellence and to teach young people about the value of education. Brenda Gilmore is the co-founder and executive director of the Prince George's Tennis and Education Foundation, a community tennis association that provides opportunities for young people to excel in athletics and academics. A true survivor, Brenda used tennis to transform her life after tragedy and to touch the lives of underserved children in Prince George's County. A former nationally ranked top 10 wheelchair tennis player, her foundation provides tennis lessons, mentoring, and educational assistance to help young people realize their college dreams. Thank you, Brenda, for being on the program today. I'm so delighted to be able to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just get right into it. Before the Tennis and Education Foundation, I want to find out about your connection to Prince George's County. How did you get here? Where were you born?
I was born in New York. I came to the Washington, D.C. area to go to Howard University. And I've been living in Prince George's County now for 31 years.
So what did you do at Howard? What did you study at Howard?
I came to Howard with dreams of being a singer. So I graduated with a bachelor's in fine arts, but after a year in music, I decided that wasn't for me, and someone introduced me to photography. So at the time, photography was in the fine arts building, as was film and television. So I was interested in film and television. And when I became a junior, the School of Communications became its own. It was no longer under the School of Fine Arts. So I was a junior, had all of these credits, and they said if I switched over to the School of Communications, I would have to stay in school for 2 more years. And so I just asked, could I just take the communications courses that I want and graduate on time? So I did that. So I actually have a bachelor's degree in fine arts with a major in technical theater, a minor in music, and a minor in film and television.
Well, that's interesting because it's only when you have the opportunity to come on a show, Conversations, that we find out that you wanted to be a singer. So we'll talk about that at another time. So you've had so your career, when you graduated, talk for a few moments about what you actually did. What was your work?
Well, while I was on campus, I was a photographer. I was a photographer for the yearbook and the newspaper, and I made money that way. And I also made money as a stagehand, so to help supplement my college tuition. And I've always had like an entrepreneurial spirit, so I found ways to make money with my photography. So since I was in the theater and I worked for the stage for the Crampton Theater, I would be there when all of the artists would be like that. During that time, there was the Motown sound. So the Temptations came to Howard, Stevie Wonder came to Howard, and I would be right there, and I could take photographs of them, and then I would sell them to the girls in the in the dormitory. And then also, Howard is the alpha chapter of a number of sororities and fraternities. So you know about stomping on the yard, and when the guys would go, the girls would go, I would take pictures of the girls' boyfriends when they were online. So I would make money that way. So after I graduated, I went back to New York, and I actually worked in theater in East New York. Well, actually it was Bedford-Stuyvesant. And I I was in New York for a year and found how had really been so acclimated to being down here, and I didn't like New York anymore. So I came back here to live after a year and was looking for a job in television, and the first thing that I got was a job in photography. So I continued with my photography bit. I had a business, and I was 27 years old and had my own. I was doing portfolios for prospective models and actors. Since I was, again, actors always needed that 8x10 black and white glossy.
Absolutely.
So that's how I was earning my living, and I had my own business, and that's when I was engaged in a hit and run automobile accident.
So why don't you talk to us a little bit about that, because in many ways what we understand is that that's what led to your love for and commitment to tennis.
Like I said, I was 27 years old, very active, and had my own business, and I was always into recreational activities. I used to ride my bike, excuse me, to the photo lab and things like that. And after being in a wheelchair, people treated me different. The clients that I had before, I was with an agency, and they were not sending me the same clients. I was known for taking my models out on locations. I found a lot of nice locations for them and everything. And I actually left the hospital and got a van that I would be able to take the models, out. And things just they treated me very differently. My photography was the same. I would explain to people, nothing happened to my talent, nothing happened to my eyes or my hands. I get around a little bit differently, but I can still see people, and I can get them to move for me as opposed to being able to move all the ways that I used to be able to do. And I belonged to an organization that was called the Spinal Cord Injury Network, and they sent out flyers and newsletters on a regular basis. And I read about wheelchair tennis. They were offering up at 16th and Kennedy, where they have the City Open now, and they had weekly wheelchair tennis lessons. So I said, okay, let me try this, because prior to that, people would see me in a restaurant or wherever, and they say, hey, you want to learn how to play basketball? You want to do some wheelchair track? And I tried it. I tried basketball. I tried track. And before that, I should say, before being in the accident, I used to run. Just a couple of miles, a couple of days a week, just try to stay fit. So when they said track, and there was a 5K, I was going to be down at East Potomac Park, and I'm going, and I had a special wheelchair and everything. I kind of enjoyed it, but it just kind of made me tired. If you're
different
familiar,
kind of using different muscles and different breathing patterns.
Exactly. And when I used to run, I would get what they call runner's high. You get to a point where it is like a high. When you're gonna kick into that second mile, it's like you're just automatically going. But I never got that with wheelchair racing. So, the basketball, I tried the basketball, and if you've ever seen wheelchair basketball, it's like demolition derby. The object is to pretty much knock you out of your chair and trying to get the basketball. So that was not for me. And I actually did also try kayaking, and it just was.
So you were open to a number of things.
A number of things,
like,
yes,
so.
Yes, I tried. And the wheelchair tennis, when I started playing, it just clicked, and I saw these guys playing really well, playing, not just putsy in the ball. They're putting in good serves and playing with pace. And I just got, I really got hooked. I really got hooked when they told me, Brenda, you need to play in this tournament. They had a tournament every year, and I was the only female in this group. But they said, one girl is coming up from North Carolina, and you got to play her. And I played her, and I beat her, and I got a trophy, and I was hooked.
So that trophy said something to you, it meant something to you, and you thought, okay, this is it.
This is it for me.
No basketball, no kayaking, no running, but it's wheelchair tennis.
Exactly.
So, as we think about all of the questions that we have for you, what we're going to do is take a short break right now, but when we return, we'll talk about the important work of the Prince George's Tennis and Education Foundation. So please stay with us.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards!
Oh, don't. Oh.
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay,
Yeah.
here it comes.
Oh, Mom!
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you.
Let's go.
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Welcome back to Conversations. I'm here with Brenda Gilmore, the co-founder of the Prince George's Tennis and Education Foundation. And what we know is that she's competitive. She received that first trophy in wheelchair tennis, and the rest is history. And what we know is that you were nationally ranked in the top 10 as a wheelchair tennis player for 5 consecutive years. What was the journey to get there?
The journey was taking lessons every week, once a week, and then practicing with the guys through the wheelchair tennis program, and doing track work. I would push around the neighborhood. I belonged to a gym. I work out because the stronger you are in your upper body, the faster you're going to be in your chair. So it was a commitment. I pretty much worked out either physically or playing tennis 5 to 6 days a week.
So what did your family think? Your mom?
They were amazed because it's like, we've never seen Brenda take anything this seriously, not a sport for sure. So most of my friends and my family were very happy for me, but they were pretty amazed.
So where did you travel to? Both in the United States, all over the world?
Well, I stayed in the United States because I had to pay for it myself until later on. I did get an endorsement, but it was a matter of raising my own funds. I used to sell T-shirts. Again, the entrepreneurship came out of me, but traveled all over the country and really enjoyed it. It gave me an opportunity to see places that I know that I otherwise would not have gone to.
So from being nationally ranked to the foundation, tell us how the foundation came about, the Prince George's Tennis and Education Foundation. What was the impetus for that? Well,
tennis, actually, I changed my career as a photographer, and because I become a Smithsonian photographer. After being in a wheelchair, I started working for the Smithsonian, and then when I got into the tennis, I quit the Smithsonian, and I started working not only playing tennis, but then later on becoming an employee of the United States Tennis Association. And one of the things, I was a community development person, and so we had a workshop here in Prince George's County for all of the counties in Maryland, and so we had a breakout. And I went to breakout sessions, and I went to the Prince George's County group, of course, and convinced them that we should start a program here, because I was going all around the Maryland, Virginia, DC, not just the DMV area, but introducing folks to tennis and showing them how it's an easy sport for them to introduce in their schools and their communities and things like that. And I said, well, I'm doing this every place else, and I'm not doing it here in my own backyard. There's no kids. I would go to Watkins. I'd never seen the kids over there. And I'm like, okay, I practice what I preach. And I did, along with I got the group of people together, and we started the foundation. And I should also note that one of the main reasons I started it was because I know what tennis did for me in terms of my confidence. When people watched me, that also was what pushed me. They was like, wow, how can you do that? And my level of self-esteem rose, because before that, people would look on and just, oh my goodness, it's so sorry to hear that. And I feel, you don't even know me. You don't, yeah. you don't know the path I've been. Even when I was in the hospital, people used to feel sorry for me. I'm like, this you got the wrong person. I'm going to leave this hospital. I'm still going to be a photographer, and which I did. I continued to do. But so that's what it meant to me, for these young kids to be able to have something that they could latch on to that they could not only help them with their self-confidence, because it's an individual sport, and also as a new means, a non-traditional means for them to get a college scholarship.
And when you say non-traditional means, it's about tennis, but is it also about the students you were serving?
Exactly.
So talk a little bit about that over the years. Who has the Tennis and Education, the foundation served?
Predominantly African American students. You know, Prince George's County is predominantly African American, and the sport of tennis is predominantly Caucasian. That's real. That's true. And our kids don't look at other opportunities. We all, especially if we're low income, we're putting football and basketballs in our kids' hands, saying this is going to be not. They're not even looking at their way to get to college. It's to get to the NBA and the NFL, and you have to look at it. That's a very, 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 very small percentage of the people that get to that level. So that's why I started this for them, with the purpose of them going to college, not becoming a pro. If they wanted to go on the pro path, that was fine, but that's not what I did this for.
Well, you know, we all, I think, look at tennis matches that are on national television, and we know who we see. And so talk to us a little bit about what some of the young people who have gone through your program, what has their story been like, and maybe what has their success been like?
You know, I run my program like everybody is one. It's like a family. So if you can be on my program on scholarship for whatever reason, whether you are low income or you were middle to high income, but a lot of times, now I've been doing this for 24 years, so we've had the recession, so I've had mommy and daddy no longer have a job. You know, we are middle income, but daddy's not working. You need to come to this program, and you need to still get means to get into college. Let's go. So, and you know, again, predominantly black, because this is the community that I live in. And there are opportunities for these youngsters. I tell kids there are 4,000 colleges in this country. One of them's got your name on it. You can go. And we prepare them academically as well. And you know, and I must say that we haven't had to do as much academically as we had before, because Prince George's County public school system has been offering a lot of SAT programs for these kids now, and after school tutoring and things like that. But we still do that. We do enrichment programs.
And I know requiring young people now to take 4 years of mathematics in high school, because we understand what that foundation does. Certainly looking at English and foreign language and all of the kind of programs that when they come to you, looking at the tutoring opportunity that might be available.
Right.
And I know that we have so much to talk about, the junior outreach program, the academy, sort of your high performance training and fast track programs. There's so much that you're doing, and 24 years ago to have a vision that in many ways came out of tragedy that struck. So what we're going to do right now, Brenda, is we're going to take another short break, and when we return, we'll talk about the foundation's impact on young people in the county and its connection to the college.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Welcome back. I want to continue our conversation by focusing on the impact of the Prince George's Tennis and Education Foundation on the lives of students in our county. So Brenda, talk to us. How do you identify students for the program? How do they find you?
Well, we have a junior outreach program, which you spoke about earlier, and we go into the schools and we do tennis days. We teach the kids tennis and get them excited about it. and we give their physical education instructors the equipment to continue with a unit if that's what they would like to do. We also have a partnership with Parks and Planning. So there are a number of schools that are either part of, it's a combination of Parks and Planning as well as or across the street from a community center, I should say. So like Lake Arbor Elementary, they have a after school program at the Lake Arbor Community Center. So we would teach that tennis there after school at the community center for them. Then another way that we get students is actually just like a couple of weeks ago, they had the high school regional championships. And when our students go and beat everybody wants to know where did you learn how to play and who are you with? So we get a lot of folks just from that way.
And then how many young people have participated in your program? 24 years?
Yeah, it's been hundreds of thousands that have gone. We've either done clinics for them, you know, school play days and things like that. That the number of students that actually stay in like the academy, we average between 50. We've gone as high as 100 kids at one time, but we run our programs every 6 weeks and then 8 weeks throughout the summer. So we usually have about 50 kids, and sometimes it's not a lot of heavy turnover. They'll age out. You know, this year we've got 5 youngsters that are graduating from high school and going on to college. So you know, that's how we.
So you touch hundreds or thousands because right. of the kind of network you've built up throughout the county.
Right. And
then you have this core number of students who see tennis as both something they like to do and then as an opportunity. Exactly. Talk about the number or percent of young people who've gone on to play tennis in college.
First of all, we have 100% high school graduation.
All right.
Then we have about 95 to 96% of the kids actually do go on to college, or excuse me, or into the military. And of those students, between 75 and 80% are there on college scholarships. And of those, about 70% are athletic, and 80% are athletic and academic.
So, do you get the chance to go to college to see them play?
I haven't. I'm trying to think about going to see them play, but I have gone to the graduations.
All right.
And we do. They have what's called the MEAC, which is the Mid-Eastern Atlantic Conference. I've gone to those.
Yeah.
So a number of our youngsters have attended HBCU, so I've seen them play that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I know that some go on to pursue graduate studies.
Right.
The tennis was that opportunity. Financially to think about college affordability,
exactly.
And then certainly enhanced by their academics. You talk about 100% high school graduation rate and being successful in high school. So, and I know that some percentage of the students go on to pursue master's degrees and are very successful in their communities. So are there one or two success stories that you'd like to share?
Sure. One of my success stories is someone that went to Howard, the University, my alma mater, and played for the tennis team and was academically strong as well. Graduated from Howard, went on to University of Maryland Law School, and is currently working for a HUD. Housing
and Urban Development,
yeah.
The Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I understand that one of the graduates and participants in the program is a successful dentist.
Yes, we've got a Naval Academy graduate, we have a dentist, we have a doctor, we have a lawyer, we have an accountant, we have teachers. So it kind of works the gamut of the majors that these youngsters go into. And now I've got a lot of little ones that really want to go into STEM. Everybody wants to be an engineer now. I have a young lady right now that is at Washington University, and she's majoring in engineering. So.
And for the few minutes that we have left, talk about the partnership with Prince George's Community College.
Oh, that's a great thing. As you know, thanks to Sloan Stephens and American Express, helped to renovate the courts there. And so now we've got these bright, sparkly new courts, and the first ones in the country to have the mini courts for the kids to play on as well. So the kids that are 10 and under, we've got 2 courts there for them. And we're out there on your courts every Saturday. We're there Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and after school. It's been a wonderful experience for the kids. The courts are great. Parents love being able to watch their kids, because when we're indoors, they're not allowed to watch the kids play. So this gives them an opportunity to watch them play, and they really see how, especially after they haven't been able to see the kids, and now they see that, oh, they can really hit the ball and they're hitting back and forth. Especially the 10 and unders. The parents are really marveled at how well they're doing.
Well, I think it's, so I'm assuming they're not like the regular tennis moms and dads that you see out on the soccer field.
No, they're still beginners, and they can appreciate. They haven't gotten into, the competition yet. But our older ones, our high school kids, they did play competitively in the USTA Junior Team Tennis League, and they're going to be playing in our 14 unders and our 18 unders are going to be playing in the championship, the Maryland Championships in July.
So we'll make sure that we'll be there to cheer them on, and do it all with the understanding of tennis etiquette, because I know there's also an etiquette in the sport. But tell me what you believe that your greatest impact has been as you think about leaving New York, coming to Howard University, music, photography, a little bit of television and film, and everything seemed bright. An accident, getting up, picking yourself up and saying there's still so much more that life has to offer. And think now with the foundation 24 years later, what do you think that impact has been, and what has it meant to people?
Well, it's been impactful because when I see my alumni coming back and volunteering, that tells me they heard what I said, and the parents, it's more than tennis. It's not just about tennis. My coaches all went to college. They were mentors for these students. So when we say I give them a call or send out a text or we need some of you alumni to come back and help these kids, and they come back. And when I run into people at the grocery store or at the mall, where I'm famous for being, and say, "Aren't you the tennis lady? You taught me tennis," and that it meant something, and it's something a little different from everybody else, and that they care and they remember, and then they know that we're there to help them along the way, no matter what age they are, because they come back. If they go to college, they come back and play with us in the summertime, because they want to continue. They just love the camaraderie.
It just seems to me that when we think about it, it's a combination of learning a new sport where young people of color are and still continue to be traditionally underrepresented, even as we think about some of the large tennis stars that we know about in the United States. It's about academics, it's about education, and it's also about a community impact. And I think that is just awesome given the work that you do. So what we want to do is thank you, Brenda, for being with us today on Conversations. And for more information about the Prince George's Tennis and Education Foundation, please visit their website at www.pgtef.org. That's www.pgtef.org. Or you can call the number on your screen. I'm Charlene Dukes, and again, thanks for watching this edition of Conversations.